The favor seemed simple enough when Rebecca called that Tuesday morning. Her voice cracked with desperation as she explained how she needed someone to sell her grandmother's bracelet at the jewelry exchange downtown. She couldn't go herself because too many people knew her face there. The piece would fetch maybe $900, barely a dent in the $15,000 she owed to someone she only referred to as him. I should have said no. Instead, I found myself standing outside a dingy storefront with security cameras pointing in every direction and metal grates covering the windows. A buzzer system controlled the door, and I had to wait while someone inside decided whether to let me in. The interior smelled like old carpet and desperation. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged man with reading glasses hanging from a chain around his neck. My palms were sweating as I placed the bracelet on the counter. He examined it through a jeweler's loupe while I tried to control my breathing. After what felt like an eternity, he named his price. $900, just like Rebecca predicted. I was signing the paperwork when I noticed him. A man sitting in a chair near the back corner. So motionless, I'd mistaken him for part of the furniture. But now he was standing, moving toward the counter with deliberate slowness. Interesting piece, he said, his voice casual, but carrying an edge that made the hair on my neck stand up. Mind if I take a look? The shop owner's hands started trembling as he pushed the bracelet across the counter. The stranger picked it up, turning it over with the familiarity of someone who'd seen it before. Sapphire and white gold, he said, with an inscription. He held it up to the light. To my dearest Margaret, forever yours. My blood turned to ice. Rebecca's grandmother was named Margaret. Family heirloom? He asked, looking directly at me for the first time. His eyes were gray and completely empty of warmth. I managed a nod, but he was already shaking his head. No, it's not yours. I know exactly who this belongs to. He set the bracelet down with careful precision. Rebecca wore this to a birthday party 6 weeks ago. Told everyone it was the last valuable thing her family owned. The shop owner had disappeared into the back room, leaving me alone with this stranger who somehow knew everything. She owes me $15,000. He continued conversationally. Been avoiding me for 4 months. And instead of facing me herself, she sent you to sell her dead grandmother's jewelry for $900. I tried to explain that I was just helping a friend, that I didn't know anything about any debt. He laughed without humor. A favor, he repeated. Do you know what happens to people who help others avoid their obligations to me? Before I could answer, he added, actually, don't answer that. You really don't want to know. I reached for the bracelet, ready to leave it and run, but his hand covered mine. Not squeezing, not threatening, just preventing movement. The bracelet stays. You're gonna call Rebecca right now and tell her to come get it herself. My phone felt like it weighed 100 pounds. But Rebecca had been paranoid, insisting I delete her contact information before coming here. I scrolled through my contacts twice while he watched. She made me delete it. I finally admitted. He studied my face, then released my hand. Then you're gonna tell me where she lives. The words came out before I could stop them. I can't do that. He stood, and I realized for the first time how large he was. The shop suddenly felt much smaller. Let me explain how this works, he said quietly. Either you tell me where to find Rebecca, or her debt becomes your debt. $15,000 plus interest. I backed toward the door, and he followed, matching my pace exactly. He pulled out his phone and took my picture before I could react. Now I know who you are, he said. And if Rebecca really is your friend, she won't let anything happen to you, will she? My hand found the door handle, but he was still talking. Here's what happens next. You leave here and go straight to Rebecca. You tell her that Vincent knows about the bracelet. You tell her she has until tomorrow night to come see me herself. Vincent, this was the man Rebecca had been hiding from, standing 3 feet away from me. And don't think about telling her to run, he added as I pulled the door open. I already know where she works, where her mother lives, where she gets her coffee every morning.